about to know about it.
Everybody about to know. We was about that action, but we glad we let it go. He took me my highest when I kept my spirit low. They know we don't even care about who though. I listen to God, now we getting flued out. I'm so glad I waited. Going super saiyan in this plan, simulated. Look fear in the face, say the top is for the taking. If the dude don't fast, don't pray when.
Hello everybody. Hello. Welcome to Pens and Pajamas Nightcaps. This is the first out of hopefully many different sessions that we're going to have. And tonight I have the pleasure of meeting with Miss Felisa Ware and Miss Shaunee Brannan. So look, let me just have a time to bring us all on here because I just feel like the energy is about to be crazy. I'm going to tell you a little bit about these ladies in a second. So let me bring us all here. Let me make sure everybody's mic is on. And come on, let's work with me. I don't know what it's doing. So Shaunee, you and this bonnet that you had in your stories, it just tore me up.
Which one do you want? Girl, wait, hold on. Y'all got to tell me which one.
Yeah, so I'm trying to bring you all on at the same time. Your name should be popping up. It is not giving what it's supposed to give, so I'm going to have to improvise. Let's see here. All righty. So I'm going to have to click on you individually then until we get this figured out. But first, I just want to congratulate you two ladies. We have Felisa, who just released her book on Kindle, available right now. I'm just so excited about this because I've been able to work with her closely to complete it. And so we're now in the final stages of getting it complete. So I just want to celebrate you. I wish I had some hand claps. But that'd be doing a lot, so I don't want to overwhelm the system. But so I celebrate you for that. And then we have Shaunee, who just released a book as well. I want to make sure I'm saying it correctly. The 365 Prayer Project. Yep. So that is available on Amazon as well as your personal website, which I'll make sure I prop up the details so that people are able to get these books from these wonderful women and be able to experience the messages that they both have to share. Alrighty, so still working on getting you all on the screen at the same time, but I'm not going to pull my hair out about it. So anyway, I just want to kind of talk about why I chose you two specifically to be on this call with me. For one, listen, both of you together, I feel like y'all need to have lunch. Like, I really feel like you need to meet, have lunch, do something because
yes, we need to have lunch.
I live on the daily. Between Shaunee's post about her kids, between Felisa's post about just being Felisa, I live. Okay, so I just want to let you two know that I just appreciate you for being you and what you contribute to my social media timelines. So, thank you for that. And so with that, I want to get into your books. I definitely want to talk about some of the messages that you have to share with your readers. We're going to talk about who your readers are, the inspiration for it. So the first question I'm going to pose to Felisa, and I'm going to ask you what is the inspiration for your book?
I just really wanted to be able to tell my story. I think that, as you work through the pages of my book, you understand that, unfortunately, a lot of the the story that I tell is synonymous with a lot of different women, especially with Black women. You know, growing up, you know, in the inner city, talking about molestation, talking about sexual assault, talking about, you know, emotional abuse, physical abuse at times. That unfortunately is our story, and you know, it was a way of actually being, you know, kind of having a cathartic message for me. I didn't really have a whole lot of thought about publishing it at first. It was more of a diary entry, just to be able to go back and be a witness to some of the things that I had endured. But then, you know, as time went on, I thought, you know, people could benefit from this. I think that women could benefit from this. I think that this will be, you know, a releasing kind of healing energy for a lot of women, for them to understand that they're not alone. And so that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to publish it.
That's awesome. And being one of the first readers, I don't know if I'm the first reader, but being one of the first people to really view it in its entirety, I just wanted to tell you how grateful I am that you wrote the book. So, to give people a backstory on Felisa's book, I had a contest some time back called the Ultimate Author Contest, where people had to submit manuscripts and I will go over them. And I wanted to publish a couple of books for free. And so she is the winner of that contest because when I read the book, I was so moved. I'm like, man, I'm convicted. I love books that convict me and check me. And I love books that make me emotional that I can connect with. And so hers was without a doubt the one that I wanted to work on. And so I just wanted to give her kudos for even being a contest winner and being able to be vulnerable enough. There we go. To share her story and to step out on faith. So congratulations to you for that. And so I want to jump to Shaunee and Shaunee's book. This is your second book, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Okay, so your first book. Let's get the title of that so we can kind of see the journey from you being a first time author to a second time author, or maybe third or fourth. Hey, let's just hear about it. So let's start
Yeah.
with this one.
So I definitely agree that it was cathartic to write. The first book I wrote is called High Insecurity by Insecurity, and I actually have like writer's block for years. I was off of work for like a year and a half, and I would sit down every day and try to write and could not write.
Hmm.
And I just, I was dealing with postpartum. I was dealing with a lot of just emotional baggage that had built up. And finally, one day I sat down when I had the least amount of time, when I had everything going on, and I was finally able to write. So I wrote that book and I just talked about my journey through insecurity and how um, it really is like a hidden thing. So a lot of the things that you end up doing, and um, I had a quote in the book that said, "All of the bad decisions that I ever made were preceded by insecurity." Like that was the catalyst, a lack of identity, self-esteem, all of those things. So I wrote that book, and as I wrote that book, like the healing process for me continued. And so that was the first book I wrote. And I think a lot of people were expecting me to um, be comical and funny. And there's some, of course, comedic relief in the book, but it was more of a serious tone because a lot of my humor and comedy comes from, confronting some of those issues. And so they work hand in hand and together. But the second book, actually, this book that I just released is 5 years later. And to me, as an author, like that's late. That's like a big gap to have your books 5 years apart. But again, kind of
Hey.
hit, I'm sorry. I hit a roadblock to where it was just like, okay, what do I write about now? What do I do? And I really felt such a draw from the Lord to create a very practical tool for people to commit to prayer with Him. Um, a lot of Christians and believers struggle in our prayer life, and it's because we don't really have anything to kind of track or gauge our process. And so our commitment is kind of in and out. But I felt like if a person had something physically in their hands to be able to say, did I write, did I journal today? Okay, y'all, this coughing, listen, let me tell y'all something about the devil. I have not coughed all day. The day is almost over. I promise y'all I don't smoke. Here, I heard you talking about your smoking. Well,
Listen, I was
you
gonna
know,
say, it's
I,
something about them coughs this week. The devil is busy. I
he's
promise.
busy. He jumped on my throat the minute I got to talking. I promise I didn't smoke. But yeah, just to wrap it up, the prayer journal was just to be able to put something practical into people's hands for them to track their own personal progress. There's vision writing in it where you write out your prayer vision, like where you want to be in 365 days. And it's just really a very practical, but it's so personal. Like it is such a personal thing. This is almost like a diary. It's a journal, but it's a diary. It's personal. It's between you and God. And so I'm so happy that people are picking up the book. They're making a commitment to start with God. We start January 1st, 2022. I'm going to go a whole year with everyone. That's a huge commitment for a mom. Like,
Yeah,
as a mom, like these kids run our lives. So,
they're
um,
authority on your plants.
yeah, yeah. So I'm excited.
That is amazing. So, that is a challenge for me as well. Prayer, for some reason, is just such a, it seems like everything comes up when you're trying to pray, or even if you are thinking about prayer, you're thinking about something else too. Like you, oh God, heal the land, heal the land. Man, a two-piece would be really nice right now. You know what I'm saying? At least that's me. It's me. Like I get really distracted sometimes. So I'm challenging myself personally to just do better in my prayer life. So I appreciate the book that you and the mandate that you have to lead people in that way. Um, so I want to shoot it to Felisa now, who let me get your books typed. Let me post your books because I have a whole thing set up here. We're gonna do this right. But while I'm working on getting the book covers for people to see, Felisa, I want to ask you, who did you write your book for specifically, other than yourself? Because I know you said that you didn't mean for it to be a book, or you didn't start off with the idea of publishing. But who are you talking to when you think about your ideal reader?
Oh my gosh, I'm talking to younger versions of myself. I'm talking to fatherless daughters. I'm talking to anyone that is struggling with abandonment, rejection issues. I'm talking to anyone that is struggling with low self-esteem. I'm talking to anyone who is struggling with, the idea that they must accept whatever is handed to them. I'm talking to anyone who is struggling with hope and, like people who have really kind of hidden their light, so to speak. It's in effect a younger version of myself. Like, they always have those questions on Facebook, like if you could go back and talk to your 17-year-old self, or if you could talk to your 20-year-old self, what would you say? This book is exactly what I would say to those individuals that are struggling with that. There is a huge, kind of disconnect, I think, between, the idea of fatherlessness and people who are fatherless, especially women. And I actually, before I did this, I'm gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. But before I came on, I had a phone call from my oldest son, and my oldest son and I have not always had the easiest of relationship as he's been an adult. I've done some things wrong. He's acknowledged that there have been some strange tension on his end, and it's been painful. And one of the things that he was saying, he was like, well, congratulations on your book, Mom. I mean, like, I really am proud of you. And I said, it didn't start off to be, it was more of a journal entry, honestly. Like, I was trying to free myself. I was trying to go back and make peace with that 6-year-old girl who had been abandoned, and that 8 and 10-year-old girl that had been sexually assaulted. And I was trying to go back and make peace with that 11-year-old girl who was physically attacked on the street by a stranger. I was trying to go back and make peace with that 16-year-old girl who said in her heart that well, I don't have a dad and I don't need a dad and I'm good without a dad. I was trying to go back and make peace with that 18-year-old girl who met a guy that was going to upset the rest of her life. And I was trying to go back and make peace with that 19-year-old mother and make peace with that, 20-year-old, bride who didn't have any idea how to be a woman, let alone how to be a wife. And I was trying to make peace with, the 25-year-old who found herself with 4 kids. She didn't even notice she was going to have kids. And make peace with the 30-year-old who was divorced with 4 kids and had no lights and no water and had no way of figuring out like what the next steps were because she couldn't depend on anybody, and continuously hid pain and continuously hid, the disappointment of what life was bringing. And, while I never, even if you read my book, which I hope you do, but if you read my book, like, I'm no victim. Every decision that I made in my life was deliberate, but it was based upon what I thought were choices at the time. See, life is so much better with choices. Life is so much better with options. Life is so much better if you know that you can go to Burger King and you don't have to take the burger that they give you. That you can say, yeah, I don't want no onions. Like, don't give me no onions. If you put onions on that, I'm gonna send it back. If you know that, like, that makes your life exponentially better. It seems like such a little thing, but it makes your life better to know that you can push back against narratives of what people are giving you because they feel like you deserve that. Push back on what it is that people are offering you because they'll offer you the bare minimum, which I refer to as the TJ Maxx experience, right? Everybody wants the max for the minimum, right? Everybody wants to have the TJ Maxx experience. Everybody wants to be able to say, yeah, I got the maximum child, but only spent
J
$1.
Max gives me anxiety. I'm not even going to.
So my
anything,
story,
anything is there.
right, and that's like my favorite store. I'm like, yeah, I would like the max for the minimum. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna pay $15.99 for this, $50 garment. Absolutely. But when it comes to women, when it comes to our stories, when it comes to our place in this world and really being able to argue against the narrative, and see, we tend to label it as different things. We tend to label it as the feminist movement or the Me Too movement, or, women today, the millennials, like, these women are just too independent. We have a label for all of it when really it's just really finding our voice and saying, stop giving us substandard crap as children and expecting us to grow into these women who are, fully functional as wives. We don't have it. We need our fathers. We need our mothers as co-parents, even if they're not together, but being able to come together and acknowledge that we're raising this child in this space. We don't raise children, we raise adults. And when they're interfered with in that space, when they're interfered with as children, and then we allow them continue to heal without really recognizing that there's a deficit there, and we're like, oh, they're okay. We don't acknowledge the sexual assault. We don't acknowledge the abuse. We don't acknowledge the pain that these girls are forced to grow up with. Then they grow up like me, where they are, they're very successful on the outside. And I'm grateful that I was able to do that. But on the inside, I'm dying. And one thing that I always tell Black women, like, we always have this great, comeback of, or not comeback, but, the saying where, Black don't crack. Like, we look good. I think I look darn good for 52, and all that I've been through in my age, right? We crack. We just crack on the inside where nobody can see it.
Yeah.
We're damaged on the inside. We're tired and we're dry and we don't have anything to give. So we come across as bitter and angry, all of those tropes that people like to affect to Black women. So when you ask me who my book is for, it's for those women. It's for those girls who are experiencing pain and deficits and don't know where to put that, and don't know how to release that, and don't know, what am I supposed to do with this? They realize that at some point their emotional trauma has now become Louis Vuitton luggage, and because it's now designer, it's now acceptable, right? So, all right, okay, I want this Louis Vuitton luggage. That's cute. that's hot in these streets. It's really not. So we tend to respond in ways that are not necessarily appropriate and not accept it. And that's how we get all of these labels attached to us. We're not angry, we're hurt.
Yeah.
We're not upset, we're wounded. we are not, we're not difficult. We're disenfranchised. Like, could y'all protect us, please? Could
Yeah,
y'all?
yeah.
You think you might
And
want to protect us?
one of the things I really love about your book is that after you tell your story, you also give strategies and solutions for people to pick back up after they've had all of these things happen and after they've been in these situations and experienced this trauma. So I really appreciate that aspect of your book. So I want to ask Shaunee too, because I have not read your new book. Like I have not, which so for me this is like really amazing because I get to pick your brain like right as it's it just freshly you just gave birth like you're still not in the hospital. So, I want to ask you because when I think about prayer books, and one of the things I tell authors who write in the Christian genre, I'm like, can we like not be so cliche? Can we not be so like if I see prayer hands, I toss the book. I'm so glad there are no praying hands. Listen, I'm so glad I didn't see any doves, any clouds, any rays and sun. If I see that, I'm not going to read it. And I am a Christian. I'm a born again believer, baptized, all of that. But I'm not going to read your book if I see all of these cliche symbolism of Christianity because I feel like I'm not a traditional in a sense, and I feel like that's not who people who need these type. People need our word. People need our experiences authentically. And if you keep on reproducing this, image of what Christianity is supposed to be, I feel like you lose people. So going back to your book, I'm glad that you didn't approach it in that way. And I'm really curious to know, like, who is your target reader? Because I'm sure it's not some old church mother somewhere wailing and weeping. And that's so disrespectful. You run that back. But
Right back.
I'll just, so my question is,
Jesus.
I'm sure that's not your audience because you don't come across that way. So let me just ask the question.
Johnny, you got one of those. What do you call those? The Terry benches and the cozy churches where you had to sit
Listen,
and you
we do
had
not
Terry.
have one. That's all I'm gonna say. We don't have one.
Yeah, so I'm sure your audience is not the old saints on their way up yonder. So who are you looking to reach with your book?
Man, like so. Okay, so just of course and maybe some of the people tuning in know, but my husband and I are pastors, so
Mm,
we put out a lot of fires. We're doing counseling like literally every day. I wake up and go to sleep to text messages. It's always stuff going on, and so sometimes I will ask people like, how is your prayer life? And I noticed a trend where people would say it could be better. And the two things that I noticed was that there was a lack of consistency, and then people struggled with hearing from God. Like, I don't want to pray if I'm just talking to the wall. Like if I don't get any results and I don't hear back, I don't want to pray. That's boring. That's just like me talking to myself. And so I really felt like I wanted people to experience what I've experienced with God. I was not, you know, a leader in the church necessarily. Like I was not somebody groomed to be in leadership. So me actively hearing from God for myself at home was just like it was an epiphany to me because I grew up in a setting where it was just like you just assume that only certain people in a certain place with God heard from him. So when I started hearing from God for myself, it was a game changer for me. It was just like, oh my God, like cut out the middleman. We here, just me and you. And I wanted that. I want that for everybody else. So all of the people I was counseling, talking to about their prayer life, I would pray like, God, let there be a passion transfer to where these same people can experience what I experienced, but they can't really experience that without a belief that you'll talk to them or without consistency. And so my target reader are people who are kind of coming into prayer at an introductory level, those who may be struggling with consistency, and even those that feel like experts. Like, because some people will tell you, oh, my prayer life is great. And then when you talk to them, you find out they are the meanest person on their job.
Mm-hmm.
The meanest. Listen, there was a lady that I worked with. There was two ladies I worked with, and this is when I was like a baby Christian. I grew up in the church my whole life, but I had to start over, because I was like coming in as a baby Christian again, learning God. And there was two ladies I worked with. One of them would come into work, and she would blast angry choir music for like 30 minutes.
Wait
Just
a
the angriest choir songs, like the angry ones. Like all of
wait.
the chords were minor. This was her getting herself ready. Then
I
when
need
she was done,
it. What is angry choir music?
girl, it is things that, first of all, as you listen, your anxiety and blood pressure get up. But she would just be back there, God is in control. God is in control. That's angry. Like, I don't care what nobody says. I know that song won all kind of awards and people love it. It's angry. He's in control and he's mad about it. So she would blast it, come out there mean. That was her. And it was another lady. Always calling her for work to go to church events. Listen, she would lie. She would be like, I'm sick, but be going to church. She was mean. And will tell you that she was a prayer warrior. And this is not me coming down on people. Listen, I love prayer. I love God. I love the body of Christ. I love the prayer warriors. But some people will tell you that they're like experts in prayer, that they can touch heaven. But I don't, it's hard for me to believe you have something substantial with God if you cannot treat people right. Like, He will check that. If
Yeah.
you're fellowshipping with the Holy Spirit, the fruit of the Spirit comes from fellowship with the Holy Spirit. So if you're
Yeah.
telling me you're a prayer professor and you are a prayer expert, but there's no fruit there, there's some kind of gap in there. And so the first part of the book is a mini book. It's like 5 chapters that kind of lays a foundation. It preps everybody for writing and crafting your prayer vision, where you sit down and you write, you say, at the end of 365 days, this is where I want to be with God. This is what I want my life to look like on this journey with the Lord. Um, there's like different benchmarks in the book where day 30, you kind of summarize where you're at and some of your results. Day 100, day 200, like then there's a portion halfway through where you can rewrite your prayer vision, which to me, if you're actively praying and interacting with the Lord, you will need to tweak it because there's things He checks and you evolve and you start to transition. And so
Yeah.
it really is like for the reader who's saying, I am actively involved with changing how I interact with God. And my greatest desire of what I've prayed is that at the end of 365 days, someone will know that they've had something personally with God that they didn't have to get from church, that they
Mhm.
did not have to get from their pastor or any mediator, that the middleman is cut out. It's
Yeah.
them and God. Yep.
That is amazing. So, man, you got me in tears. It's the angry choir music. That is
Read.
so hilarious. And I think I remember you posting about that before.
Yes. And people were saying, yes, they knew the songs. They started listening up. Because there is angry choir. I'm sorry if y'all hear my dog. But
It's
yeah, there is a such thing as angry choir music. It is.
So I want to transition a little bit because in my Facebook stalking of both of you, I came to learn some things I knew already, some things I did not learn. Some things that I did not know that I did learn. And so I found out that both of you are like these powerful, transformative YouTube personalities, right? And so I kind of like scoured your pages, some of them like years back. I know I'm a creep. I'm sorry. I'm a creep. But I found some clips that I just wanted to bring here and to kind of get your mindset on. I mean, they're amazing. And I'm just like, wow, like more people need to hear this and more people. So yeah, I was on there for a minute, y'all. So I want to play, first I'm going to play Felisa's clip. They're not long, so don't be nervous. And it's public. I figure y'all saw them first. But I want to get into that because I feel like to some degree it's related to who you are as women and what your books come to at some point. So here's Felisa's clip.
So ever since then, like I stay away from that. That's one of the reasons why I don't hashtag relationship goals. I don't look at, the presentation of other people's relationships as anything that I aspire to. I don't know those people. I don't talk to those people. I can't vouch for anything that's going on in their relationship, and I will not be pursuing a hashtag relationship goal, inviting things about that relationship that I'm not even aware of, that I wouldn't even go for.
All right. So I watched this whole thing. I did because I was like, she's preaching. And for those of you who kind of popped in, the premise of the video is relationship goals and how we see all of these couples posted, celebrity or not non-celebrity, and people are like, "Oh my God!" Like she woke up with rose petals all over her face, like goals. And, like we don't understand what could have transpired before that. It reminds me of that clip in which one of those Medea movies was it? But like he had literally beat her like the day before, the night before.
All of them.
And right, it's a trend, right? It's a theme. That's a whole other video. But
I think it was Medea's family reunion.
yeah, that's the one. And she woke up like there was a violinist and somebody playing while she was in the tub. And it was like, but he just beat her the night before. And so you look at that part, if they were on social media, he got pictures of her in the tub being serenaded and played to people like, oh my God, I want a man like him. Oh my God, oh my God. But it's like, right. No. So I want you to kind of explain a little bit about where you were coming to, because I know where you were coming to in the video, but like give us like a brief, like, what were you coming to at the end of that video?
So, I mean, it's very simple, and the concept for me is always the Titanic illustration, right? Like we see what is above the water, which is, kind of this iceberg. Really what damages the vessel is all of the stuff that's beneath the surface, or the things that are not visible to you. And so it's the same principle. When we see things on Instagram or Facebook, we hashtag relationship goals, and we think that because someone puts a certain image out on social media that's something that to be desired of, because no fool comes online and be like, yeah, I'm homeless and I got roaches and I can't find a job, and occasionally I beat my woman, or occasionally I cheat, I have community, what, and so I'm not necessarily faithful, I don't really pray like that, but the conditioning is that you see all of the great things, and so you desire those kinds of things. For me, it's a matter of inviting the unknown into my space. So now I start to desire the things that I see, but you also desire the things that you don't see, because it's kind of a package deal, right? Like you can't like just say, oh, I want a man like that. Well, the man like that comes with extra stuff. So yeah, he might be buying her flowers every week, at a certain florist because he remembers the day that they met and all that kind of stuff. But he's also a serial cheater, and he got an outside baby that's across town, or he got an STD that you don't know about, or he likes to lay hands and not in the appropriate biblical way when you get out of pocket. So all those things you start to invite into your relationship. I think it's dangerous to do that, because really and truly, if we think about it, when we first saw Rihanna and Chris Brown, and I love me some Breezy. I think he's a great entertainer. I'm not somebody that divorces entertainment from the artist, or art from the artist, right? I'm very much like, yeah, you need to work on your issues, bro. Like, I can't really support that. Like, I really think you got some great music and all that kind of stuff, but I'm not about to sing to that because you got some stuff that you need to deal with. But as a people, we tend to kind of excuse that. Oh, he was young, he was this, that, and the third, and she lended to whatever the case may be. And wherever you may fall in that spectrum of Rihanna and Chris Brown, and let me be clear, neither one of them are returning my calls. So I'm I've tried to put out an appeal for them to answer me, and they won't do that. So I'm forced to, be like everybody else, which is I'm on the outside looking in, and I can only look at news reports. But when it comes to actually, the endurance that someone, whether it's Rihanna or Karrueche or anybody else that may be in that situation, would endure because of money and fame and prestige and things like that, what you see is the Tiffany's runs and the rings and the bling and thing like that, but you don't see, after the social media is cut off, what's actually happening in the house. And when you kind of project that and like, oh, I really want this man, then you invite that into your life. And as a real case scenario for, I didn't necessarily say it in my book, but I alluded to it. So my ex-husband was a serial cheater. And he wouldn't go to church. And I was very much involved in the church. As a matter of fact, I was in, probably my first year of ministerial training, which, a lot of people don't know. So I was going through ministerial training, and I'm praying. I'm like, Lord, I really just want him to come to you. But I said something very specific, which was, I want him to be like my pastor. Because my pastor would get up in the pulpit and he would talk about how much he loved his wife, how much she made his liver quiver and all this kind of thing. Well, probably about 3 years after that, we found out that my pastor had been having affairs with multiple people in the congregation. Not only had he been having affairs with multiple people in the congregation, one of those people happened to be somebody that was very close to me. And so it was found out in the church, and, it was kind of like this church meeting, and, he came out and he made all of this reference to, oh, I was hurt and I was wounded. My husband was a serial cheater. Do you understand what I'm going with this? And I kept telling the Lord that I wanted this man to be so much like my pastor, and I wanted him to, like, why can't he be like my pastor? Jesus, like, I just want him to get up and be able to say the things that the pastor says about me. But when you project that onto your own relationship, my ex-husband was actually a lot more like my pastor than what I had actually thought he was, because I was married to the serial cheater.
Woo!
Serial cheater.
Man, that's
for what asking for that.
Like, you don't know what you're asking for all of it when you say, I want that man. I don't know what I'm asking for, even when I'm asking.
You're asking for
something to consider.
Unknown. We get women, I always say, are very captivated by the Monet. We get very captivated by the picture of what things are looking like, but we don't really get close up enough to inspect the dots. Like, it's just a collection of dots. Have you ever seen a Monet painting? Like, it's just a bunch of dots. It's a mess when you get close to it. Far away, it's beautiful. We get very captivated with the big picture, and we don't look at the dots. Connect those dots, ladies. Please connect those dots, because it's really literally a matter of life and death for you.
Yeah.
Wow. That is, man, when I like you say this in the video, I want you to know I was with you in the video. And I was just like, yeah, right. Yeah. So I want to shift to Shaunee, and your video clip is about women who, and I love this because I'm like, I know so many women like this, but your clip is about women who say that they don't hang out or don't make friends with other women. And so I just love your perspective on it. And I'm gonna let the clip do what it's supposed to do its assignment.
Why I don't do women. This is why I don't deal with women. Like, we've heard it all. We even know some women that do have some women friendships, but they are very anti-connection with women. Listen, I can understand why you would feel that way. I can remember experiencing negative female relationships all the way from elementary to middle to high school, even as an adult. because of the nature of what I've always done and who I am, I tend to attract women, but I attract all types of women. I attract the insecure, the secure, I attract the immature, the mature. And a lot of times I've had so much experience with why people will say women are this way, that way. But let me tell you something. If you deal with people long enough, you'll find out that men have their issues too. Amen?
I just love that. I love it. We think it's so much, women this and women that, and you like, no, it's a people issue. So I want you to kind of expound on like this whole issue of women not liking women.
Mhm. So, okay. So I'm going to try to keep it really short. So when we started, as pastors, and I started like working with all of the women, um, I noticed the ongoing theme, and I've said this before, and I said this a long time ago as kind of like an epiphany, like where you wonder if you look back years and years and years, if you look in the Bible, you can see they weren't getting along back then.
Hmm.
And where I think it comes from, where women are kind of catty and competitive and don't always get along right away, I believe it goes back to polygamy, where when you're able to have 4 and 5 and 6 and 10 wives, of course we're going to be in competition for the affection and attention of the one man. And I
Mm-hmm.
think over the years, it created a culture, even within our brains, the way we think, where we're naturally competitive with one another. And so I started to run into the problem where I have this thrust and this desire to deal with insecurity and to really push healthy self esteem and identity. And when you, whatever your drive and your push and your ministry is, you attract people that need it. So I started running into being a remedy, but also repelling people because they're insecure and they didn't really know what to do with a sense of confidence. And it was frustrating to me. Like I would have people, one young lady waited for me after church, and I'm leaving church. She pulls me to the side and she said, "Have I done anything to you? Because I just feel like you don't like me." And listen, I may have had maybe 2 or 3 conversations with her in church, had no idea this girl's thinking I don't like her, but she was incredibly wounded, incredibly insecure. And instead of her being self-aware, because I believe you can be insecure and have these issues going on, but be self-aware enough to know
Yeah.
this is something I'm working through. It's not you, it's me. I'm working through this. She wasn't self-aware. So she was thinking I didn't like her. And, I run into this issue where women would be like, I don't deal with women. I don't hang out with women. I've even had some women, like there were some people that commented on that video on YouTube, like they were mad. Some women were mad about it
I'm gonna have to go
because
back.
they're like, ooh, they offended. They're like, I hang with my husband. And I'm just like, what? You gotta be tired of that. If he's trying to hang out with his boys and you trotting along because you don't have no girlfriends. But the one thing I noticed, and I know some people are not gonna like this, the women that usually say, I don't have any girlfriends, I don't hang out with women, I'm done with women, they're that woman that can't get along.
Mm.
Or they've tried to steal somebody's boyfriend or husband. Like I'm just being honest with
Yeah.
you. Or they found themselves in a position to where they constantly are into it with other women because they haven't resolved whatever it is that's inside them. And I feel like a healthy woman, a woman that has a healthy self perspective, that has self love, she has at least one good girlfriend, because I don't have a whole lot of girlfriends. I'm
Mhm.
just telling you, I don't have a whole lot of people that I say that's my friend. But I have healthy relationships with women, and that don't mean we're best friends and we hang out. That's not what that means. It means you can sit down and connect with other women in a healthy way, and it not be any problem.
Just celebrate them.
Yeah, like come on, like let me say this about you, Kiera. One thing that spoke volumes to me when I approached you about possibly going through your publishing company for my book, and then I decided to go a different route. There was no funny nothing with you.
Oh, I
No,
appreciate that. No, no,
listen,
no harm, no foul.
no, no funny nothing. And I said, she's real because that's how I would be. I would be like, I'm happy for you. I celebrate you. Like I'm genuinely like that. So I look for that quality in other people. There's so many people who would have been like, if I had approached their company and not gone through it, mad for about it. But I think it's healthy. It's a sense of it speaks of volumes about your worth and how you feel about yourself and what you produce. And so, yeah,
Thank
definitely.
you for that. So I just going to your point, and which is why I had that clip. This is what this is right here. Three women who are celebrating success, who are celebrating their stories and the ways in which they pour out to other people. And so this is just me, like just applauding you two because what you have done, people don't understand all of the emotions that go with writing a book and all of the ups and downs and the having to sometimes relive things. I've written two books, and so a lot of what Felisa was going through, I'm like, man, this is bringing that back up when I had to deal with that. And we have a similar story where my first book, I wasn't trying to publish it, I was just trying to heal.
Yeah.
And as a result, it attracted other women who was trying to heal, similarly. And so I'm just a big proponent of women. I have a chapter in one of my other books called what's the name of that chapter? Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's about being jealous of other women and how I had to combat that. I'm like, if your first inclination when a woman is cute is to be like, her outfit is too small, or her hair is, this, or she should have did this, or her edges, then that's a problem. So I purposely had to say, when I see a woman who looks amazing, I'm going to compliment her immediately. Like I'm going to go out of my way to compliment her. This one lady was looking at me really weird at Walmart one day. But I'm just like, that's just me exercising my deliverance. Ma'am, your hair is so cute. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter if your feet are crusty. That's your flesh trying to hate because she's looking good. And so that's just one of my big things. I'm a big proponent of women and health and wholeness and camaraderie, all of that. So I just want to let you guys know that this is why I brought you here because I'm really, I admire both of you. Honestly, I admire you so much. And the voices that you both hold in the social media and outside of social media space is just phenomenal to me. So we're going to segue because I have a game for our last couple of minutes that I wanted to play. And audience members, those of you who are still watching, you can participate. But make sure you're either on YouTube or you're on the Facebook business page, House Capacity, because sometimes it gets weird if people try to connect on my personal page. I don't know why. Although you can still play, you can still type in. Hey, you can shout the answer or you can just type it in. But I'm going to give instructions. So while I set that up, we're going to run an ad by one of our sponsors. So hopefully you enjoy that. If you need a realtor, this is your guy.
Living for weekends, wishing I could take a break from this world. Running on a hamster wheel, but searching for something I can't feel. I just wanna be a lost girl and fly. Take a breath, feel my wings spread, levitate above the ground and make eye contact with clouds. Now I'm rising, I'm soaring above it all.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and get this thing cracking. Bear with me because I got a lot of tech going on right now. Okay. Again, those of you who want to play the game, make sure you're on either house capacity site or you're on YouTube. Otherwise, it won't. I don't know if it'll won't let you see it or what, but that's that. So I'm gonna make sure you can see my screen. I think it's the one. No, that's not it. Try one more time. Okay, can you see this game?
I
Not yet.
can't. Not
You
yet.
can't see it yet?
No,
No.
not yet.
Okay, let me try it again. Oh, you know what? I didn't look at that. I know what I did wrong. Boom. Okay. So I think I need to make this bigger though. Okay, but it already timed me. So let's see. Is it this book features a mother who is haunted by the ghost of her dead baby?
I'm
So
assuming that we're not supposed to play, right? Because I
I'm
already
after the time goes, look, and it's already. I don't know why it's so big. I mean, it's obvious now at this point.
know. Right.
Type it that way, just so you know.
Right.
If anybody's in the audience playing, and they can just put 1, 2, 3, or 4. Let me see if anybody is here who got to see it. And I'm gonna try to put on the bigger screen. That's crazy. Let me put it on the bigger
That's
one.
not a giveaway.
I know. I didn't do it though. I was like, why is that so big? There we go. I think we're good now. Hold on. Okay. There we go. So the answer is beloved, obviously. Let me see if there's anybody here who is playing. It'll tell us. It keeps score too. This is really cool when the people put their answers in the chat. Okay. This book depicts. Hold on. Let me hide us. Uh, the challenges being a human in a world of supernatural beings. I think this last one is
Come on, y'all.
Grounds by George R. R. Martin. I think that's what that last one says. We're in the way. Let me see.
Yeah, we don't even count Kiera.
me? Am I muted? Can y'all hear me?
You were
Yes.
muted.
Oh, I'm up here talking. The Handmaid's Tale. That's I love that series. Who wrote The Color Purple? Come on, people. Come on. Let's see. Again, if you're playing, you have to be on the Facebook business page, House Capacity, or you have to be on YouTube. If you're on my personal page, Kiara James, it won't compute your answer for some reason. So just to give you I think we only have like two more questions anyway, though. Okay, Felisa, and you say?
Oh my God.
It's number 4.
Yeah, these are too easy.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, like if you saw the movie and that was it, like you have never seen or heard of The Color Purple. The book
Yeah,
is what's up.
Yeah.
maybe because we read. I was like, maybe is it because we read books like this? Like this is too easy.
It's a lot of people that don't.
Yeah. Okay, Marla got that one. The next question in 7 seconds. I think I did get a little harder later. I think I did. Okay. The book Push by Sapphire was depicted into a movie by what name? Ah, no.
Oh, I want to say Precious.
That's what I was gonna say.
Final answer. I wish I could see my
Really?
I can see my face right now. But it's gonna block the game. Although I don't think Soul Food or Love and Basketball were ever books. Let's see here. If somebody besides Marla is, but Marla's on it. Listen, she's on it. Precious. Thank you for playing with us, Marla. I think this is the last question coming up. And if you're commenting on my personal page, I'm so sorry. It's not calculating your answers. Oh, no, that's the end. Well, look at that. Marla winner. Good job. All righty. So I'm going to close this bad baby out. Put us back on. No, come off, game. I'm done with you. Marla, so I want to, can you inbox me? I got some information I want to give you. I got some goodies that I want to send you. So if you can inbox me, I would love to get some things to you. And before we close, I just want to thank you two for joining me tonight. I also want to just share with people some of the things that you have going on. Felisa has an amazing company called Stolen Moments.
Thank you.
And listen, I've nehas seen candles like this. Let me see if I have a picture. I'm gonna show them. And I stole all of the foodie looking ones. She has candles that look like banana pudding, that look like, let me see, let me put one up here really quick.
Thank you.
I just want this because it looks amazing. Pull this thing up. While that's loading, Shaunee is an amazing vocalist. She has some projects out. Here we go. Here's the banana pudding looking candle. Look at that. Look at that. It's a candle. A candle. And that's not even all, but her company. I mean, this is talent. I've never seen nothing like this. Shaunee has some projects with her husband. Do you have any individual ones too?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Working on it.
That's awesome. Let me load yours. I think you have two albums.
Yeah. He has, well, I'm on that one with him, and then his other one, I'm not on it. Yeah.
I saw another with your picture on it though. Let me see. I'm still gonna pop it up.
Oh, you know what? That was like a single we released. It wasn't a full album, but yeah, there's another one.
Got it. Got it. We're gonna pop that one up anyway.
Yeah,
So
I gotta say.
yeah, so both of them are definitely busy working different things, having different projects. I want to would you shout out your social media and your websites? Felisa, can you first so we can know how to follow you? And I'll pop it up here too so people can
Yes.
see.
Thank you. So I have a couple of different spaces. So I'm Stolen Moments Aromatherapy on Facebook. I am SMA Aroma or SM Aromatherapy on Instagram. Simply Felisa is also on Facebook, and that is, kind of my forward facing persona with my YouTube. I'm Simply Felisa also on YouTube with all of my what I call just commentary and social rants and just my ideas, thoughts, and observations. They may not be yours, but they're definitely mine. So yes, I would appreciate a follow. So thank you.
Okay, I'm just gonna pop you up here. I'm the tech guy and the host. Hold on.
Oh, all right.
Okay, there we go. Simply Felisa. That's on Instagram.
Yes.
Did I spell it correctly? We'll make sure we got the right spelling. Okay, I think we're good. And then, Shaunee, how can we follow you and learn more about your books and everything else that you're doing?
I'm just Shaunee Brannan on Facebook. There is, of course, my personal page. There's a Shaunee Brannan group page. And then I'm getting ready to launch the 365 Prayer Project page. So that's if you want to go on the journey with us for a year, praying and journaling. But it's just Shaunee Brannan on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and Twitter. I don't really tweet. I need to tweet. But yeah, I'm on there too.
Okay. And for those of you who are still watching, we have an opportunity called Pins and Pajamas of the same name. However, this is a live event where we stand overnight working on book manuscripts, vision casting for your book, bouncing off ideas off of other women. Again, I'm all about women together, learning, pouring into each other. That's just me. So if you're interested in that, I have information as well. There are a few coupon codes. Inbox me if you want a coupon code. That's happening next weekend, actually. So we got to get registration tied up rather soon. So if you're interested in a relaxing environment with other women, being productive, having fun, this is the space for you. Inbox me and we can get you started with your registration. So again, Shaunee and Miss Felisa, thank you so much. This is my auntie, my
Yeah.
we decided that a long time ago. Thank you so much for your energy and your heart. Thank you so much for being obedient to be able to pour out so much of yourself in written form. I understand how much that requires and how much focus and dedication and concentration, Lord God, and scheduling. I understand all of that goes into writing a book, meeting deadlines, and all of that. So I just want to, again, applaud you for accomplishing that. I'm going to head to the chat real quick to see if anybody has some lasting kudos.
I'm sorry, Kiara. Like, I know that we're at time and I know you're going to go to the chat, but I just wanted to say that I so appreciate being selected for your publishing. I so appreciate your expertise and being able to lean on you and you pulling out the, all of the inner workings of this book, which is, truly my baby. I thank you for being such a wonderful person to work with and just so easy and parent. Like, I just think that I would be remiss if I did not say that. I know that this was a kind of a forum for authors, but without you, none of this would be possible. So, your publishing house and your professionalism and your communication has been just exceptional and amazing in terms of an experience.
Yeah.
I would be remiss if I didn't say that. So, thank you for,
thank
having
you.
this and being able to celebrate us and we want to, I think that it's important to celebrate you as well. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Hugs, everybody.
I know.
And I do have pajamas on too. It's just a little, I'm hot. I get really hot. but I have pajamas on. By the way, I'm not naked. For those of
Okay,
you.
girl.
It's all right.
Okay, so I'm just gonna show the last few comments. Look like people have been in this chat, and I've been missing stuff. But we got some from Marla, who's our game winner today, and then we have Alexis, who says hi. I don't know if anybody knows Alexis, but
That's
she's
my
hi.
daughter.
Oh, that's your daughter. That's Muffs. Was I supposed to say that live?
Yes, that's mom's.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Alexis. I'm sorry. Okay. And then what's this? Oh, that was one of the answer choices. Somebody picked Rosemary's Baby for the chat, the quiz. And oh, I didn't mean to block you. I'm sorry. I have to unblock you, whoever you were. I pressed the button, and whoever that was is blocked. Okay, so I gotta go back and figure out how to unblock that person. So Marla says, what a great time." Said I missed the first portion. You can always replay, so I thank you for participating. So I'm gonna call it a night. I know you ladies got things. Miss Shaunee has kids. I know peeking around the door somewhere probably. I know
Oh,
mine
they're in the bed.
Mine was, but she has a way of, how was your show, mommy? You know, like she'll probably be up still. So, and then Miss Felisa is an empty nester, so you could do what you want right now. So this was fun. I really enjoyed you, and I love you too. I really wish you both much success in your books, in your life, and everything that God has for you. I just pray His richest blessings over you. And good night.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
This was
Thank
awesome. Thank you
you.
so much.
Okay, goodbye.